Welcome to the Web of Light. Again this week, I am here with Elmer Howard. Elmer, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Elmer is taking the place of our errantly missing Angie D'Anjou. And I'm Dr. Kevin, and we want to welcome you to our show. So Elmer joined us at the Web of Light fall event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So what did you think of some of our vendors and readers and presentations, Elmer?
It was a great selection of vendors and readers, and definitely a lot of great products there. You know, I had to make sure not to buy too many things, but there was definitely a few things that caught my attention, and a few experiences with new technology and stuff, as we'll experience and talk about today, that were amazing at the show.
Yeah, it was a great diversity. You know, sometimes you'll go to one of these metaphysical or new age or spiritual shows, you know, and you have, 30 booths there, and 20 of them are readers, and then 10 are, 3 different MLM companies.
Right.
A table of 2 each being represented, and you go, what is it? And that certainly was not the case. We had a beautiful angel artist.
She did really nice artwork.
Yeah, I'm going to have her both on Web of Light, and she's going to be on Dragons, Unicorns, and Other Creative Creatures.
Nice. And what I found interesting about this is, you don't see at expos, is the food vendor you had at this show.
We had an incredible food vendor. Turn Up the Beat, Allison Williams, who is in Dover. And I'm going to have Allison on the show as well.
Nice.
She did a talk on eating for a healthy soul, which I thought was a fascinating topic title. So yeah, they had some great food. There was the angel arts. We had the labyrinth.
Yep.
Did you get a chance to walk the labyrinth?
No, I did not.
Oh, yeah, I did. Actually, I took time to...
Well, I guess because I was out running the floor for this.
Well, you did manage to engage in a few things,
yes,
though.
I did.
Yes. Yeah, we had a 30-foot by 30-foot labyrinth that people could walk.
Yep. Nice. Set off in the corner, so it was quiet.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know whether, Michael Farrington, who's been on the show before, I don't know if he's going to be back in time for the April show or not. I know he'll be back next. I know, as far as I know, he'll be here for the Portsmouth show next year. But the April show, the Earth Day show we do here in Nashua, Earth Day weekend, I'm not sure if he's going to be back because he winters in the South, and April's kind of like a...
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Well, you're living in Phoenix now. You escaped Maine.
Yep.
So we did have a lot of very different, interesting. I don't know. Phoenix and Lotus was there.
Yep. Just nice trunks. I liked how she had the trunks set up with her product and able to write on the chalk with it as well.
Yep. And and she reps a lot of little small independent tarot decks. So I don't know if you had a chance. I know it was, everybody was busy and running around, but she reps a lot of different tarot decks that you don't find at a traditional store, or sometimes you can't even find them on Amazon. That are artists that have created unique decks. I actually bought one from her at the show I met her at, which is a show that I was there as a reader. And we had our readers. We had some great readers,
which I didn't get to experience either.
Well, I got to experience doing several, lots of readings. I was doing readings and trying to help Elmer, who was running our floor for us, to kind of be available when necessary. Luckily, when Elmer's running the floor, it's not really necessary very often. And we had some great presentations. Did you get a chance to sit on any of them?
No, didn't do that either.
Well, we taped a bunch of them.
Yep.
So we're going to have some tape.
Are you going to release them on the website?
We'll release some. They'll all get released on Dr. Kevin and Friends, which is my YouTube TV channel, as this show gets released there after it's released through the public access system from Maine to California, and then on this YouTube channel, but it's also on the Dr. Kevin and Friends channel that's associated with IPMNation.com. And so Matt Connerton, who you know,
yep.
Obviously. And so we'll be releasing a lot of them there.
Okay.
But we'll highlight some. They were half-an-hour talks, 45-minute talks. So that was good. So we actually kidnapped one of our vendors and we dragged her on the show. And that would be none other than Chrystal Watkinson.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. You were one of the talks of the show.
Nice. Nice.
You know, I heard there were 2 or 3 different people that people would keep on coming up to me and mentioning, and you were definitely one of them.
Nice. Well, it makes me feel really good. I've worked really hard on getting to this point.
Yeah. So for those of you, now the name of your business is, I'm sorry, I should know this off the top, and I don't even.
It's Quantum Evolution.
Quantum Evolution.
Yes.
And you are seeing on your screen, or if you're not, you will be now, because the camera will be pointing to it, a 21st century version of, now is that like it's a Frankenstein bed, right?
Right.
You take different pieces of different people that would make the perfect person, you put it on, those
bring life
lasers go
into
down.
it.
You're, life! But this actually is what Chrystal was there. And what you're going to see on the show today is in just a few minutes, I'm going to go be on the bed while Elmer interviews her all about the bed, her history of the bed. And then when that's done, I'm going to get up. Elmer's going to go on the bed, and we're going to be talking about our experience, and we're going to be talking also about some of the spiritual impacts. But this bed is called a what?
It's a quantum resonance crystal healing bed.
A quantum resonance crystal healing bed.
Yes.
Okay. So it works in the quantum energy healing crystal so they can be more resonant?
Well, kind of. It uses quantum physics and intention to really activate your own body's healing mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if I was walking up to you and saying, I think I want to try the bed, which I did try it at the expo, and I'm shamelessly taking advantage of the opportunity to get on it again, which tells you how good it is, while Elmer interviews her. In just a quick, because you're going to get fully interviewed on it, but in a quick, like 90-second or 2-minute, what would you tell me before I get on the bed? Like, what should I do? What should I be prepared? You just said something about intention. Should I be focusing, blah, blah. Talk to me.
Just set an intention
Okay.
and lay back and relax.
Okay.
The bed just does everything for you.
Now, did you, I don't remember you telling me that on Saturday, but running around the expo the way I was, you were just kind of like, you just really kind of,
Yeah.
you kind of sort of like kidnapped me.
Yeah.
She did a little like karate roll and threw me on the, no. And so I'm going to get up, I'm going to go over, I'm going to take my mic off in just a second. I'm going to have an intention, and you're going to explain what you're doing as you're setting things up. And then Elmer is going to start questioning all of it. I made sure I put on both my amethyst bracelets and my amethyst, because amethyst I know is one of the stones in there. So I just did a
The whole bed
spoiler.
is the amethyst, right?
Well, I was gonna let you interview for that. Spoilers, sweetie,
Jump in.
spoilers for all my Doctor Who fans out there. Anything else you would say to me as a person that's walking up to be on that bed, besides set an intention and let the bed do its thing?
Not really. I mean, I have an explanation about what it does,
Yeah.
but I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, you just lay back and relax. The bed really does all of the work for you.
Okay. Good. So I'm going to get on this bed. She's going to hook me up, and you do the bed, and then there's a second piece you do. I'll let you describe that as you're doing it to me.
Okay.
So you can kind of explain it as you're doing it to me, and then Elmer will pick up the interview part when I've gone off to La La Land, winning an Oscar. No.
Right. Now the bed's heated, so it'll put you in a state of relaxation. I'm going to lay these crystals over your chakras. Everybody's different, so I have to adjust it to everyone. Now the frequency I have it on is for emotional and physical pain. And what it does is it sends signals to your organs to make them feel loved so that they work together. It's one of my favorite frequencies.
Okay.
I'm going to put these headphones on. How's that? Is that comfortable? I guess so. All right.
So before we get into the history and how you got introduced to the bed and such, you mentioned that you have some more information about what the bed actually does.
Yes.
So go ahead and explain that to us.
Well, this bed it uses frequencies, scalar waves, binaural beats, and vibration to really stimulate your own healing mechanism. I have an amethyst biomat that is on top of the bed that conducts infrared rays. It has magnets and copper coils, and amethyst lining the whole bed. And amethyst is a magnetic conductor, and it holds the heat. Now with the headphones, the bed vibrates with the music, so it really gets your juices flowing, and it opens up your chakras, and it unblocks any blockages. Now with the lights, they're UV LED lights. We absorb UV light the best. So and the crystals amplify the light. And the crystals are Vogel crystals. They're cut in the same dimensions as the Giza pyramids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they help focus that UV energy?
Yeah, it's a precision, like I can put it right over a spot and it will work on that spot. That's why it goes over the chakras, because it really activates them and stimulates them.
Okay. So how did you get introduced to this?
I was on Facebook, honestly. I make orgonites. And I was on Facebook looking up people that make orgonites about 6-7 years ago. And I saw a picture of it, and I just haven't stopped thinking about it since. Just really studied. I've been learning crystal healing my whole life. And then I went from that to learning frequencies, because this is a huge part of this bed. So.
Okay. Did you have to get trained on how to use this? Is there any kind of training that goes along with it?
Really, I work with the people who've made the bed. Any questions I have, they're happy to answer it. They call me instead of just emailing me. So it's more of a personable learning experience. There's only 15 of them in the country.
Were they made here in the U.S.?
Yeah, they were made in Colorado.
Okay.
So really, it's just the bed found me, and I'm just working with it.
Right. So if people want to learn how to experience this, they can go to your website?
I really don't have a website. I
Okay.
just kind of started up. I've been doing one step at a time. Being a new business owner, I've invested my whole life into this. So I'm just trying to, any expense I make has to kind of pay for itself right now. So.
Okay. Well, when you do get a website, let us know. I'll
Oh,
make sure
I-
Dr. Kevin, puts it out there so people can find you and find out more about the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously you travel with it, not just having it at your store. You do a lot of shows.
Yep, I've been just getting into that circuit. I bought this a year ago, but it took me 6 months to really feel comfortable just throwing it out into the public.
Right.
I really wanted to feel it, and I needed to get confidence within it. It's not something that you just buy and you're like, here, look at what I have, you know?
Right, yep.
So, it took me a little while to really build that confidence and really feel comfortable helping people.
I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience I had on Saturday. A lot of times when it comes to energy, crystal healing, any of that kind of stuff, for me personally, I don't feel anything right away. It takes time, and I just notice the effects of it later on. But your bed, after I got up on it, I went over to Kevin and immediately I said, wow, my God, this, I actually, I could feel my intestines starting to react to it, and it really calmed me down, and it's amazing. It's the first time I've been on a machine that other than a microcurrent treatment that I've had, because electricity flowing through you're going to feel that. So it's, do you get that a lot? Do people say like they immediately feel the effects from it?
Yeah, most people, when I'm at expos, I only do it for 15 minutes. And then the volunteers or the vendors, I do 20 minutes because they're really pushing a lot of energy out, but people feel it within a couple of minutes. You're using frequencies. Everything's made out of frequency. So your body responds to that. It talks to your cells, and your cells respond in a positive way.
So they does it help the cells to open up? Does it, is it helping them to release any toxicity, things like that?
Yep, it's a detoxifier. It's a DNA repairer. It helps remove stress, any anxiety. There's over 1,000 benefits that go along with this table. And then everybody's finding more and more. And everything, like I said, everything's made out of frequency. So when you absorb a frequency, you feel that. And it's instantaneous. It's like walking through the woods or going swimming in a river. You absorb that frequency.
Right. And one of our volunteers who tried the bed at the expo came over to me. He's like, oh my God, he's like, I'd sleep on that all day long. And you had told him like, well, that wouldn't be a good thing. So explain that. Is it, is there a good, weekly, monthly, if you were able to, have access to a bed like this, what would be a good schedule for coming and getting treatments?
Well, some people do it at first once a week, half an hour once a week.
Okay.
And then they move to like every other week, and then they'll do an hour a month. This detoxifies your system. So sometimes it will detoxify you too quickly. And because when I first got it, I didn't really know that. I read about it, but I was like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. And I got rashes because it was detoxifying my system too quickly, and it didn't know what to do with it.
Oh, wow. So besides the detoxification, what has been your experience that you've, out of the three of us, you've had more experience on this bed? So what's your experience been? What side effects and benefits have you seen?
I haven't had, other than the rashes, I just cut back my time. Other than that, it's changed my life in more ways. It connects you to the universe, and once you use the universal language, which is frequency, you are able to receive the universal benefits that it has to offer. It's like putting your antenna up a little bit further every time you use it. Now these crystals, they store DNA, or they store information of your DNA. Quartz crystals are in everything, electronics, your watches. So they're made to store information. So every time you lay on this table, you end up getting the benefits. It picks up right where you left off.
Does that not matter how many people have been on it? You've had a lot of people at the expo, and Dr. Kevin and I were on it. So does it specifically remember his, even though you've had other people on it before and after?
Yeah.
Before and after
I
that?
clean the energy out of my crystals, but they can store a lot of information. So, it doesn't matter. It remembers like little bits. I can do distance healing with a piece of hair, with some hair or a little bit of their DNA, skin, whatever.
Right.
I could put it in a bowl, a glass bowl, and I can long distance heal. So, just with their DNA.
So that's getting to the cellular level?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know our cells are where, where we hold any of the inflammations, the toxicity, and if we definitely can clear out our cells, that's very similar to the microcurrent treatment that I get. It helps open up the cells so they release that, so your body can flush it out, because if you can't get it out of the cells and can't release it, your body's going to hold on to it, and that's where we get diseases coming up and such. So what does the crystals, the crystal bed, the amethyst, what is that doing for the person?
The amethyst biomat is FDA approved in 4 different countries. What it does is it helps reduce inflammation, it helps with blood flow, it balances your hormones and pH. Now, people with chronic arthritis, you have fluid that builds up in your joints. And what it does is it releases that fluid, and with your blood flowing properly, it disperses it so it's not bunched up in your joints.
Okay, and that happens with just not only the crystal, but with the heat that the crystals are expressing?
Yeah, it's infrared rays, which is what the sun pushes out. So our bodies absorb it.
You're getting it from both ends then, that infrared?
Yeah, infrared and UV. Yeah.
Okay. And what does having the sound in your in the headphones, what is that doing for you?
Those headphones and my little iPod, it's tuned into binaural beats. So this is a whole system. And binaural beats connect your brain receptors. So it kind of like cleans out all of the junk so you could store more positive and better information.
Yeah, because definitely if you're taking in good things, and even food or whatever, but there's no place to put it, no storage, the cells, and you're just flushing it out, you're not getting a lot of the benefits from it. Tell me about, you do the pillow as well, so this is kind of a whole sensory deprivation from the outside world.
Yes.
So now, does that have to do with focusing on your attention and the relaxation?
Yeah, it puts you right into a meditative state. Now, when you have interruptions, whether it's lights, and a lot of the times you're not going to close your eyes on this because there's pretty light with crystals hanging over you.
Right.
So I do that so people have to kind of put themselves in a relaxed state.
And you mentioned a lot of people fall asleep. Are they still getting the benefits even though they're not thinking about their intention?
Yeah, you set that intention and the crystals push it into your body. You're all made out of, now I do this a lot, I'll set an intention into a crystal, and on a misty day I'll put it into the river, and the water molecules push out that intention into the universe. Now the same thing happens on the bed because we're made out of 80% water.
Right.
So it pushes it into your water cells, and you consume that intention.
Is there certain types of intentions that work better for being on the bed?
No. It's whatever you feel, whatever you're trying to work on. It's a more internal thing, like you're working on yourself and you're internalizing an intention that you need set for your own evolution or moving on, whether it's letting go or really building yourself internally.
I'm coming back from the great beyond. Oh.
All right, it's very bright. Oh, and I can't even get the light out of your eyes. Okay. Here. There you go.
Did I levitate? Did I float?
I don't know, did you?
I don't know.
There is life. Oh, sorry. Wrong movie. Oh.
How do you feel?
Good. But I will say that there was a feeling of deep release, kind of a deep release relaxation, just kind of a floating, and as if things were just kind of drifting away. So definitely relaxing. Just as I found it on Saturday. Now, as you notice, she's adjusting. If any of those go out, it means that he has no chakra in that area, just so you know. And I'm going to have to depend on Chrystal to find out what good conversations I missed out on to make sure I don't repeat anything as she's getting this set up. Again, this is a quantum resonance crystal bed. And I'm sure at this point you know that there are amethyst crystals that are lining the bed. And then there are a different kind of crystals that are generating the chakra energies. Did you and Elma talk about those at all?
No.
Okay. So I'm assuming that he covered like kind of the history and how
Yep.
you found the bed and things like this.
Yeah, and he covered the bases, like how you feel, the process.
Okay. So one of the things is, and I'm going to be forced to watch my own show. That's always a sad thing. So I can find out all the things he told you. But as the music, so I want to start with the crystals. The crystals that are on the top there. So are those also a special crystal?
Yes. Like I said before, they're Vogel crystals.
Vogel, okay.
Marcel Vogel, he, in the 1980s, he created these crystals. They're in the same dimensions of the Giza pyramids. And also, when you look at them, they're the same shape as the tree of life in sacred geometry. And these are all hooked up to lights. They're UV LED lights. And what it does is it really stimulates your chakras.
Okay. Okay.
It opens everything up.
Nice, nice. So now, for our viewers who may not know a whole lot about chakras, why would they want their chakras open?
They're your energy wheels. When one's blocked, you get kind of physical ailments, like say your heart chakra's blocked. Sometimes in between your shoulder blades will be really stiff. You'll have knots. And then once you release that chakra, your energy is able to flow properly throughout your body, and a lot of your ailments will kind of go away.
Okay. Now, again, of course, obviously, we are not promoting or supporting any connection between
No.
this can cure.
No.
We leave cures to Western medicine and allow them to fail miserable at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if somebody were to have a specific issue that they are struggling with, is historically the bed really good for something other, a certain kind of dis-ease in the life or an ailment in the life?
Well, I do have a book full of different frequencies.
Okay.
That's electroherbalism, using frequencies to cure things.
Okay.
Now, generally, when you feel good internally, you end up releasing a lot of ailments, So I start with making people feel good.
Okay. So you start with the mental, emotional. then.
Yeah. A lot of that plays a huge part in certain things that go wrong with your body. It's like a blockage,
Okay.
So I try to start with that. Now, I do have a huge book of frequencies and what different frequencies cure or help with different ailments. Now, I haven't really, like I said, I do the feel good. It's solfeggio frequencies.
Yep, I meditate to those. I don't tell you when I get them off YouTube.
Yeah.
There's lots of channels on YouTube where you can find these different frequencies to help with different things. So somebody, let's say if somebody's saying, I feel like I'm really stuck with stuck because I'm trying to lose weight, there would be a different frequency you would put on for them than if somebody is saying, I'm having issues with arthritis.
Yeah, well, the amethyst biomet helps with arthritis. It reduces inflammation. It helps with your blood flow and fluid flow. So that really helps. And then depression or weight gain, a lot of that has to do with hormone imbalances and not feeling 100%. I actually, when I laid on this a lot, I lost 20 pounds because everything just flew properly. My intention was to be healthier, and I set that intention every time I laid on it. I made healthier decisions for myself. I drank more water. My thought process changed.
Okay, and that's always an interesting one. is, you know, a lot of times people want to put, you eat this, and I have said, you know, if you eat the standard American diet, then you will end up with the standard American diseases and on the standard American medications. Kind of, it's like it's not a logic, a difficult logic thought process. So from this, though, but there are some people that can eat anything, do anything. We call them, you know, they have the constitution of a cockroach.
Yes.
And they don't have to have any effect. But a lot of times there's also a belief system or an ideology that's going on with them. Now, do you find that people, how many treatments would somebody, let's say, how many treatments would somebody want to do with one of these?
It all depends. You really have to, your body tells you, like yesterday, I had someone this weekend during the Web of Light Expo. I had someone that came in Saturday, did a 15-minute session, and then the next day on Sunday he came in and asked for a 30-minute. He wanted to come right in right away. So it all depends on your body. Now, anything too much is never a good thing. It doesn't matter what it is. So you kind of have to, I was laying on it for every other day when I first got it, because I was excited. And it was in my house, so I was just testing it. And so it detoxifies you, and I was getting little rashes because my body was detoxifying too quickly. So I had to cut back. Now everybody's body's different. Everybody detoxifies differently. So you really have to listen to yourself in order to really know how much you need this table.
So now, Elmer may have asked this question, but I'm just curious. So how long has this technology been around now? I mean, like, this is a fairly new thing, yes?
Yeah, the company that I bought this from, they started like I think the first bed was 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
I found out about it about 6-7 years ago. So, and it's a quantum mechanic, and his girlfriend does Reiki and massage. And they have a bed that's called the John of God bed.
Okay.
Now, this is the amplified version of that. This is a modern day version.
Okay. So this is John of God 2.0 or something?
Yeah, so kind of like that.
Only now it's not called John of God.
Yeah, it's made by a different company and made in the United States.
Okay. Okay. So the technology's been around for about 7 years. And I believe I read somewhere that there's not a whole lot of these beds out there right now in the U.S.
Right now, as of the same time, they were making a bunch of beds when I ordered mine. They're making like 4 or 5 other ones. So as of now, there's 15 in the country.
Okay.
Including this one.
And this one lives where?
In Farmingdale, Maine.
Okay, go figure. Of all the places in the world, it's hanging out in Farmingdale, Maine.
That's right.
So, now you've had the bed for how long?
I've had it for about a year.
About a year. So, are you finding? I mean, now you and I talked before we actually got on the show, because I used to work at a bed and breakfast healing center. I went up and did classes and stuff like that a long time ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But taught some weekend stuff and did some things. I thought it was kind of interesting. No one thinks of Farmingdale, Maine as a spiritual hub.
No, but it is, you know. Here and there, I'm kind of struggling a little bit, but this is a new type of healing.
Well, and I think that this was one of my questions is, do you find that there's a long explanation of getting people kind of into it, understanding? Do you have people come by more than once and like walk away and maybe not get on the bed but come back for more questions, or like what's the?
Well, the one thing that I've noticed is that the people that do come into my center, they come back. I have reoccurring customers all the time, but it's getting people in there because I try to explain it, and people just don't get it. It's a new type of healing, so it's going to take a lot longer for me to kind of push it out than anything else. You know, Reiki's been around for a while, people know about it, but at first, people kind of shied away from it because they didn't know anything about it. Same thing for here.
Now, at your center, and the name of your center is?
It's Quantum Evolution.
It is Quantum Evolution. It's actually the name of your business, but sometimes, like, I have a different name for my business than for my healing center.
Yeah.
So I don't make any assumptions there. Now, is there any, now, a lot of times if you go to certain types of modalities or healing systems, afterwards they say you need to drink a lot of water. Is that true with this as well?
Yeah, everything's made out of, you need water. This bed, this amethyst biomat, it conducts heat, so it kind of dehydrates you. And these crystals attach to your water cells to set the intention. So more water you drink, the easier it is for them to do their work.
Now, is this the only thing that's at the center? I mean, is the center just basically built around the bed, or are there other things you do there?
For right now, I mean, I'm trying to get art. I just kind of moved in there and got settled, but I'm trying to put in local art, and I want to do sound healing expos and kind of seminars in there.
Okay.
My whole center kind of consumed my bed, and everything kind of, the sounds really bounce off the walls perfectly. It's kind of remarkable.
Okay, so the center right now is more or less one oversized room, am I taking
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, this is not a place where you're gonna have 30 people in for a class or things like this at this time?
No.
Okay.
No,
So,
I'm pretty much based around this bed right now. This is my main focus. I really want to get this up and going before I add a bunch of other things.
yeah. Well, you know, sometimes it's about bringing things in, you know. You're probably not aware, because before coming to the Web of Light Expo, you and I had not met.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started doing professional psychic work back in the 70s, and then have had my own full-time business for 27 years. And when I left corporate America and said, no, this is not for me,
Yeah.
stuff like this, I actually started going back and doing the good old-fashioned psychic readings. In
Yeah.
fact, I was doing some at the Web of Light Expo. But people go, well, you know, you're a primarily spiritual catalyst, coach, counselor, you do all these other things. Why do you keep on going back and doing psychic readings? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's really simple. It's paid marketing.
Yes.
And, you know, the funny thing is, people will, they will experience you in a 15-minute psychic reading. And if they have a good enough experience and they like your energy and you're really good at what you do, and I can say I'm really good at what I do, then they go, well, maybe I want to do some more things with you, or maybe I want to take your classes. So sometimes it's like, what's going to get them in the door so they'll listen to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I do need to step it up a little bit. I've been trying to go to these expos and holistic fairs and just kind of getting my word out there.
So I don't want to put you on the spot here,
It's okay.
but I do have to ask, what was your experience at the Web of Light Expo? This is
It
a
was
big dream.
amazing. I had so much fun. It was so much fun. I talked to this woman that's going to Quantum University, which is the college I want to go to. She does online courses. I talked to all kinds of people. It was so much fun. That's what I like. I like to get out there. I'm a talker. So it's just really easy for me to talk to everybody that walks by. So.
Yeah, and it seemed like that bed was not empty for long periods of time.
No, I was pretty tired at the end of the day.
You were rolling them in and out.
Yep, it was really a good experience because since I've really just only been up and going with this table for 6 months. Took me about 6 months to get myself comfortable really putting other people on it. I would have my close friends as my test subjects, you know, and like, because you're working with frequencies, so you don't want to really mess anyone up. You really have to understand them and understand the process before you throw it out into the public. So, you know, I've only been doing this for about 6 months, and with
You're
the
making a
public.
splash.
Yeah, and I love it. It's so much fun. Just the look on people's eyes when they get off it is the most satisfying experience I've ever experienced.
Well, I think it's about time I think he's baked.
Huh? You think so?
And he kept on threatening us he was going to fall asleep, but I haven't heard him snore yet. Did I snore
No.
when I was on the bed? I don't think so.
You did a
Did I?
couple of, but they were really light.
Yeah, it's so funny when
good
because
job.
when I teach the Wei
You're
Chi
like right on.
healing, sometimes and people are working with me on the table. My students, I let my students work on me, and I'll get that very light, and they'll go, "Oh, he's sleeping." I'll go, "Oh no, he's not. He's still hearing everything you say."
It's kind of bright.
Kind of bright, but
Yes.
she brings him back gently. You see as his chakras elevate up and go up to the Vogel crystals, so now he is chakra free.
Oh,
He
how
has
you
no
feel?
more.
Nuts.
Ready to come back to the world?
Not really.
Not really. I could actually feel some of the dehydration,
Yeah, it
I could-
happens very quickly.
but I was so much into getting back over here. Now, so I was glad to hear that you had such a positive experience with the Web of Light Expo. We look forward to having you back at our future expos because, again, people love this.
Yeah.
I have been hearing about this bed for a while, but I've never come into contact with it before because, I've, been in the spiritual community for years and I hear things as they come up during the thing. I most often hear it called an amethyst bed,
Yeah.
is what people say to it.
That's
I-
probably the amethyst biomat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of that piece, but I've not,
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of the whole
The amethyst
system.
biomat is different. I just upgraded and got that because I wanted the full experience.
Okay. Okay.
So that was purchased, not really separately, but it was an offer when I bought the bed.
Okay. So now, is this 2 or 3 different technologies working synergistically?
The light bar, my frequency box, and my massage table are all one. There's transducers that they put underneath the massage table to give you the vibration, and it's all hooked up as one. Now the amethyst biomat is separate, made from a different company.
Okay, and it's the amethyst biomats that I did. Can you actually show a little corner? I know at the
Yeah.
expo you're showing a little corner there.
So there's actually speakers in the massage bed, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's transducers right under each section. That's why when you lay on it, the top part will vibrate and then the bottom will pulsate.
Okay.
So it really stimulates blood flow and energy flow. And it's all hooked up to my frequency box. So everything's hooked up to that box. And that's the power source for the whole table besides the biomat.
Okay, and then there's a little string of, those are actually amethyst crystals, right?
Yes. Yep.
Now, why amethyst versus anything else?
Well, they make other ones. I like amethyst because it's a magnetic conductor. And there's magnets and copper coils in the biomat. So my birthday's February.
Ah.
So amethyst, so I really like amethyst. It's one of my favorites. So they make tourmaline, organite. They make all kinds, and you can get them for a king size bed, or you can get a small one just for like a heating pad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find that the amethyst works specifically well with this system?
I really like it. Purple is a great, healing color. I feel because it is a magnetic conductor, there's magnets in the table, so I feel like it amplifies that. So.
Okay. So now you had an experience on Saturday, and now you just had another experience. Describe a little bit about what they were like for our viewers, and were they different?
Yes, they were. And I don't know if Saturday is because running the expo and running on less sleep. But I noticed when I was laying on it Saturday, I had shallow, faster breaths, and I kept trying to calm myself. By the end of it, I was able to calm down and really relax. And this time, I've had a little more sleep, and I'm not, don't have the expo running through my mind. So I was able to actually doze off a little bit this time. Actually, kind of went out, and I noticed both times that my body reacted differently. Saturday, I noticed my body almost like braying of a horse. My body would just, my lips would do that, like releasing something, like a sigh, but it was almost like a bray. And then today I noticed a couple times that I felt like I wasn't breathing anymore. And all of a sudden I'd take a deep breath. So I don't know what was going on, but I felt it was definitely different from Saturday to today. But both times very, very relaxing. And, you know, I think you might have gone over more than 15 minutes. And when I thought about that, I'm like, good. I can stay here the rest of the show. I'm fine with that. I don't need to get back up.
You were there for about we scooted you in almost a full 2 more minutes because we were in the middle of a talk flow about something, and I was like, we'll just finish it. He's happy.
Yep.
He's in no rush for us to get him off
Nope.
the bed. You know, you weren't twitching or anything.
Now, when you go into a meditative state, your breathing becomes more shallow. So since you have already laid on the bed, it remembered your DNA, and it picked up right where you left off the last time. So your breathing ends up becoming more shallow the quicker you go into a meditative state.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I really, it's interesting because I didn't talk about the difference between the experiences when you were there. I could faintly hear a couple of little things you guys said, but most of it I wasn't picking up on, so I don't know whether you were hearing anything we were saying or not.
Not really.
Not really, yeah. I mean, I just heard like a word here or there. But I know on Saturday, again, I was in the middle of the expo, in the middle of, you know, doing things from going from readings to checking on presentation rooms and stuff like this. So again, a lot of stuff flowing on in my mind. And on Saturday, I had that kind of like, I just kind of need to release and be into a place of kind of like, just kind of, this is what it is, where it is, just breathe and be. Because sometimes our mind, you know, gets busy with a lot of stuff going on.
Gets in the way.
And I walked out of it feeling like, oh my God, I just feel like I had, you know, a full night's sleep, and I feel clear, and I feel focused, and I feel energized. Here, I felt more like stuff was like releasing or shifting versus me shifting myself into a different place. I don't know if that makes sense when I say it that way, but you know, definitely. But we didn't talk about intention on Saturday, so really I kind of went in with the intention of I just need to sink back in here, and basically that's what happened when I got off the table.
I always have hard times deciding on intentions, so when I lay down, I was just like, okay, whatever healing, whatever, you know, stuff I have to shift emotionally, I'm like, whatever needs to happen, just let it happen. That was kind of my intention. I didn't like think of anything in specific.
A lot of the times, you know, because I've laid on it, didn't set an intention. I just laid on it to relax and kind of bring myself centered and balanced. And in your psyche, you always have an intention for your day. You know, like you always have a thing that you want to do or achieve, and that's in your psyche. You can never get rid of that. So even though you don't set an intention when you lay on the table, it's still working to internally heal and kind of let you connect to the universal power, you know. So, I mean, it's important to set intentions throughout the day, especially when you're doing some kind of healing, but it's not required, and it's not like a huge thing, you know, because this is really connecting you to universal energy. And that's like the most important part, because once you're connected to that, you receive the universal gifts that the universe has to offer.
So now, did you, and Elmer may have asked this question because the show's not over, so I haven't been able to watch it yet. What kind of training did you have to do this?
I did a lot of self-training. Something like this, you don't just go and buy. I have been learning crystal healing through, I had a mentor my whole life, and she helped me out a lot figuring out my path.
Okay.
And she just kind of threw down hints and would throw information in my ear, and I'd retain it somehow. And you know, I've always been into crystals, and so I started there, and then I started making organites. So, and they're what they do is they pull earth energy and they disperse it. They turn any positive ions into negative so that we absorb, because we absorb negative ions. So I started making those, and I found out about this table, and I really started learning about frequencies. This table has a little bit of Nikola Tesla.
I was going to say some Tesla stuff going on there.
And then there is Albert Einstein and Wilhelm Reich. And Wilhelm Reich was the one who invented orgonites. So it's a little bit of mixture of all of them. So I just started studying quantum physics and earth energy and all of this stuff. So I kind of self-taught myself, and that's all I could focus on.
Okay, but there's no like, when you buy this, you got it, but there was no like technician manual or training you needed for it?
No, it's pretty easy to put together. I had an intense phone interview. Like, they don't give these away or sell these to anyone. So I was stressed out for a week before I had the interview, because I knew that this was either going to make or break, what I want to do. So I did the phone interview. And, they liked what I had to say and liked my energy towards things, and were really excited to send me the table. I feel like this table found me. I didn't go out and search for it.
So we're getting ready to close the show. At some point, would you, be willing to come down to the Wolf Healing Center and offer sessions for a day or a weekend or something?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Okay. I think that, you coming down and maybe doing a little talk to people and then kind of moving it forward from there would be a really great way to do it. So
Yeah.
we can talk about that. We'd love to have you. I want to thank Chrystal Watkinson. You will see all of her contact information underneath about how to contact her, how to find her, and reach out. We want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for being part of the expo.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed every experience so far.
Great. So as we close today's show, there are many more things out in the world than we will ever be able to fully discover in a single lifetime. That's why we get so many of them. Not only does time change and people change, but you get to keep on changing lives, yours included. And so when something comes across your path, if you have just finished watching this show and you went, then you need to follow that. Because you can't learn everything, but everything you need to learn will always show up. Namaste.